creature. The other players are the hunted. If you play as one of the hunted, you explore Artemia using place cards. By playing these and your survival cards, your aim is to avoid being hunted down. If you place the creature, your aim is to hunt down the shipwrecked survivors and assimilate them into the planet's ecosystem. By playing your hunt cards and activating the powers of Artemia, you repeatedly attack the hunted to wear down their will and inescapably bind them to the planet.
Rip and tear.
So these are the place cards, I believe. Yeah.
Have they come out with a new Legendary recently?
No, there's one in the works, another X-Men set.
Okay. I thought they couldn't do
No, they can do
X-Men. What's the one they can't do? Fantastic Four they can't do anymore.
Well,
right?
they did a Fantastic Four set and they
now,
refused to reprint it.
Yeah.
And that was actually well before the last Fantastic Four movie, so now they're really not going to support it.
So there are two guys that I enjoy, one more than another, but that's fine. That have given ways to do the Fantastic Four in a modern setting that has it not suck.
Yeah.
Because like part of what makes the Fantastic Four like difficult to deal with is that one, they're like adventurer people, and so like the thing, like they're already who they were before the cosmic rays changed.
Like they're already like
they stole a fucking spaceship,
yeah.
right? It was as a family to do this other thing, right? And then so they're explorer people. They're not hero people. They also happen to do hero things, but like their defining characteristic is explorer, which is not a thing that Hollywood really does well. Certainly with limited budgets where you have to combine everything to...
I think if they went into Doom, like Dr. Doom, like he has one of the coolest backstories.
Yeah.
Like he's seen the future basically, and the only future he's seen where the world doesn't explode is the one where he's the almighty ruler.
Right.
Or something like that. I'm paraphrasing.
Right.
Like,
and,
so he thinks he has to become...
The mantle of the Black Panther, like, at one point, he was judged by the spirit of the Black Panther.
Oh, yeah, it's like the Panther God is basically
Panther
like,
God.
hey, Dr. Doom, like, you should probably try and become king, because,
Right, and the Panther God was like, yeah, you're actually, like...
You're right. Like, you're actually doing something you think is good for everybody.
There's a lot of reasons, including that Doom is like one of the best villains Marvel has. But I also think like for the Fantastic Four, more than any other superhero story, like everyone's fatigued with the origin stories of a lot of these people, right? Well, I don't think a lot of people necessarily know what the Fantastic Four's origin is, like all the details, but I also think it's the least essential. They could easily do a Fantastic Four movie and never bother. Have a tiny bit of exposition at the beginning, just saying we were in the space shuttle accident with gamma rays, and jump
now to the
right
fun
into
stuff.
Jump right into them going on a
I
wacky
wish
adventure.
that more like superhero movies did that, where they were kind of like, okay, cool, backstory's done, let's go into fun shit.
Be like just have an opening scrawl that says like, we realize that the character that we're depicting in this movie is baked into our culture, and everyone knows the basics of his origin.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get right to the
we
good
don't
stuff.
need to see Peter Parker get bit by another fucking spider,
but we will.
We will. See
Actually,
that.
no. I don't think the new one's gonna have a lot of. I think they explicitly said they're not gonna spend a lot of time.
Or like Batman's parents getting shot. Like we know.
To be very fair, though, I can watch his parents being shot all day.
Yeah, I really hate the Waynes. Like when they get shot in the movies, I'm like, yeah,
That's another great comic I just saw online. Someone shared. Where it's the 3-panel strip, and in the first panel it's the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Oh yeah,
So the woman goes to the kid in bed and says, "Well, Jimmy, what do you want for your Make-A-Wish last wish?" And he says, "I want to be Batman." And then the next panel, it's the same woman with a sniper rifle on the roof, aiming at his parents.
Was that Saturday Morning Breakfast cereal?
No, definitely wasn't.
That's one of my favorite
different art
comics.
style. Saturday Morning Breakfast cereal, I can give or take. Sometimes he's a little too full of himself.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're great. When he keeps it short and sweet.
I fucking love Zach Weiner, man.
Zach Weiner's great. I've stopped pretty much reading webcomics. I used to read XKCD every week.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't read. Really kind of just.
I still like Poorly Drawn Lines because it's
Poorly Drawn Lines. It's hilarious too. Or what's the other? There's one it's like left-handed comics. It was
I
like
used to read left-handed
yeah,
comics.
they were like two cartoonists who could not draw at all with their left hands, and so decided to do a bunch of comics using them. And the first one, like the early ones, are bad looking because they couldn't draw with their left hands.
There's one adult-rated one I like, and I can never remember the goddamn name of it.
The really adult Ogloff?
Yes!
Yeah.
I like Ogloff.
It has some really good humor
Sometimes
in it,
he
but
goes
it's not
over
being like overly sexual.
Yeah, when it's over the top porn, it's not as funny. But sometimes he'll have just like legitimately funny
jokes.
yeah.
Yeah, I never read that one. Like I'll occasionally see like a link to a funny one, and I'll read that. But what's another good one I used to read? A Softer World was just depressing.
There's one called Pandyland.
That. Questionable content was good.
Oh, the Perry Fellowship Bible.
They kind of go really off the like. They're still going questionable content. I think the story has got. There's like fighting robot underground rings of fighting robots at this point.
Well, they had one of the side characters was a robot.
Yeah, they went to space at one point. But it's all well done.
Yeah, like they were very sweet. In fact, that's like.
It got dark at some points.
Sure. There's a one meme that is taken from a questionable content thing where it's like they're getting ready to have sex and like the chick takes off her clothes and the guy's just like just wait this is or like the chick's like wait this is what I look like, this is me, right?
Yeah.
And so like I've seen that as other things and where it's like she takes her clothes off and then she's like a tentacle monster and like this is what I look like, this is me, and like different variations on that.
Well, because I think she's trans in the comic, isn't it? Or is that later on in the comic? I know one of the new main characters is trans.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I haven't read it in months though, so I'm not caught
up. Yeah, Movie Bob. I can't. Bob Chipman. He does really good work, and you should check out his stuff. And
with where he like talks about how you could make movies good.
Yeah, apparently Movie Bob is like an enemy of the alt-right or something.
A little bit.
He's made like comments and against them or something.
I know Bladed Media did a really good 3-part series. It took them forever to get it out, but it was a 3-part thing on how to make the prequels good. Yeah, the Star Wars prequels, and he actually does a great job of like setting up a really good origin story for the characters.
Cracked has a thing where they're like, yeah, if you watch the movie, the prequels, where Obi-Wan is actually Amidala's boo, right?
Oh, where like Obi-Wan was actually with her though. Supposed to be with her, yeah.
Right. I mean, because like Anakin and
you really have to read into the prequels to enjoy parts about them.
Yeah.
Yes. You really gotta be like, well, if you look at the subtext, I guess
you have to explain the prequels like Trump supporters explain his comments.
Yeah,
then
like,
that's the only way that makes sense.
You see, this is what George Lucas was trying to do.
Oh yeah, Jar Jar was a Sith. Yeah, that's what I.
Oh yeah, I like that. That's
a
also.
great theory, though.
That's yeah.
I mean, I do like the idea that since Jar Jar got so much backlash that he decided, like, going into the next movies to be like, okay, well, we're not going to have that, so Grievous is my new guy.
The most damning evidence that never happened was that he was so aggravated that people didn't accept Jar Jar. Like, he took him out of most of the second 2 movies, but he still left him in there a little bit just to piss people off.
And they gave him, like, power. Like, he became a senator.
But, like,
Jar Jar, the guy in the poop jokes,
he's so arrogant, though,
Senate.
Lucas, he would have revealed it. He would have said, like, oh, I'm sticking to my guns, and I'm going to do my plan, and you'll all see.
Like, Jar Jar's the guy who gives Palpatine control of the Senate, right? If I'm remembering that right.
I mean, like...
I haven't seen the prequels since they came out.
He makes a speech, and then there's a vote, but...
he doesn't pull the switch.
Do it. Fellow Senators! But...
the poop joke.
That's right.
Monster.
See, they didn't even talk about this very much in the Red Letter Media review, but the thing that always bothers me the most is that if they had actually made an effort to make the Republic seem like it was crumbling, to make it seem like at the beginning of The Phantom Menace everything was shitty, the Jedi Council was in disarray, all the planets were decrepit, and there was poor people, and everything was bad, then I would have totally bought that this one senator could have assumed power by making the Republic great again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it would have made total sense. But none of that shit was ever laid out. Everything looked great. But they did make the point in the Red Letter Media review that if you were a citizen on Coruscant, you wouldn't even have known there was a war going on. Yeah, everything just seems fine.
Yeah.
Like
smoking death sticks in a bar.
That's
with
right.
my buddies. Like,
that's right. Oh,
until the planets get evaporated.
Oh, yeah, I'm anti-trade federation. Sure, whatever. Oh, the game's on.
Well, I think that's what everyone thought about the... Like, oh, more... No one ever said, oh boy, more Trade Federation stuff. Like, that's what I like in my space operas.
People in the Trade Federation did.
Robert Reich said he liked the Trade Federation stuff. But
I love that man.
He's your boo?
He's my boo. I don't know why
I came to see... But, I mean, then at the same time, he also went the opposite direction. Because, like, the first one, people were like, there weren't enough lightsabers. And then the ones, he's like, alright, so we're going to have Grievous, right? And he's a robot, and he's got like 8 lightsabers, and he's got like a lot of arms to use them. And they're like, "All right, George."
They should make a lightsaber ball. It's just nothing but lightsabers.
Like maybe we shouldn't have 45 minutes of exposition about trade federations, but let's tone it down.
Someone pointed out General Grievous was more interesting than any character in Rogue One, and I agree.
Well, there weren't any interesting characters in Rogue One.
Rogue One, I feel bad for Rogue One because Rogue One just had a lot of heavy lifting to do.
It tried.
Because
Rogue One was awesome, and you guys are all stupid.
They could have hired a single writer, I think, rather than just doing storyboards.
Yeah, it was a 2.5 hour movie that needed to get from like there were specific points. It has to start from here. It has to get to here. Like how it does it, it's up. So it took 2.5 hours to like do some heavy lifting for movies that were 30 years old at that point.
But there's just like there's not a single character arc.
It's a story that didn't need to be told.
Yeah, no, I agree.
No, I think they could have told it well, and I think that there were good there was a good idea behind it.
But in my opinion, it wasn't a story that needed to be told, and by telling that story, they actually messed up the continuity of the first movie of Episode 4.
Yeah, because. Like when he's like,
you could say that about all three of the prequels.
Yeah.
Why does Darth Vader? Well, of course, but why does Darth Vader jump onto that ship, rip through doors, kill a bunch of dudes, only to see the ship escape? Catches up with the ship,
and it's like,
what are you hiding? And she says, we're on a diplomatic trade mission. And he could have been like, bitch, I just saw your ship fly away.
You just left an active war zone. She was using her materials were taken away.
She was using her latent force powers to confuse him,
of course. And
even though he's the most
Jar Jar was in the other room and used his powers. That's right. All right,
yeah,
not
let's
alone.
play the game. Since we've done a nice long podcast about,
that's right.
Oh, we'll take it all out in post. Oh, you should leave it in there.
Oh, it's going up. That's gold.
The banter.
All right, so here we are.